Have you ever come across a mystery so bizarre it just threatened to flip everything you thought you knew on its head? And then, right at the peak of all that tension, a simple, almost boring answer shows up and calms everyone down. Well, that's exactly the cosmic story we're diving into today. It's about two visitors from way outside our solar system, and how the totally normal one actually made the weird one seem even weirder. And this quote right here, it absolutely nails it. See, before 2017, we had never, ever seen an object from another star system up close. Then Oumuamua showed up, and it was a complete shock to the system, a scientific art attack. Then, just 2 years later, Borisov swung by, and you could practically hear astronomers across the globe breathe this massive sigh of relief. Understanding why? Well, that's the whole story. Okay, so to really get why Borisov was such a big deal, we have to go back to the feeling Oumuamua left us with. It wasn't just a mystery, it was a full-blown cosmic cliffhanger. I mean, just try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. Your entire career, you've got these solid models for what an interstellar comet is supposed to look like. And then the very first one we ever see looks absolutely nothing like them. It's flat, it's shaped weird, and here's the kicker, it speeds up from no visible reason at all. So you're stuck with this giant, nagging question. Was Oumuamua just a fluke? Or were all of our models completely wrong? Is the rest of the galaxy just filled with these things? And then, almost like the universe heard them asking, it sent an answer. It sent a second visitor, basically a cosmic control group for our little experiment. It sent us Borisov. So, 2I/Borisov, found in 2019, was everything Oumuamua wasn't. You could almost think of it as the cozy, predictable grandparent of comets. It was exactly what scientists were hoping for, because it was, well, it was normal. But what does normal even look like when you're talking about an interstellar comet? Well, a good, honest comet does three things. First, when it gets close to a star, it sputters. It heats up and starts spewing out gas and dust, and that creates this beautiful, cloudy haze called a coma, and of course, a big, long, messy tail. Second, you've got to check its signature, and when we looked at all that stuff it was shedding, we found exactly what we expected: water ice and carbon. And third, the push. Yeah, it sped up too, but it was a chaotic, messy acceleration. You could see it was being pushed around by jets of stuff, shooting off its surface unevenly. It was messy, it was predictable, and it was totally 100% natural. So now that Borisov has come along and set this perfect baseline for what natural chaos should look like, the orderly, almost sterile weirdness of Oumuamua just gets thrown into this incredibly sharp focus. And this is where the real divide starts. I just love this analogy. It creates such a perfect mental picture, right? One object feels precise, engineered, almost clean. The other is just a messy, lumpy, natural blob. It just brilliantly captures the completely different characters of our two interstellar guests. And when you put the data side by side like this, the contrast is just undeniable. Let's look at the tail. Oumuamua had nothing, not a hint of one. Borisov's was spectacular. How about composition? Oumuamua looked bone dry. Borisov was loaded with water ice. But the biggest, most damning piece of evidence right here is the acceleration. Oumuamua's was smooth, clean, perfect. Borisov's was a chaotic, sputtering, messy affair. So, here's the big twist in the story. Borisov didn't solve the Oumuamua mystery by proving it was just some weird type of comet. Nope. By being so perfectly, boringly normal, Borisov actually proved that Oumuamua was an even bigger anomaly than we ever thought. Borisov's arrival basically confirmed two massive truths for us. First, that nature, on this cosmic scale, is messy. Our models of comets being these icy, sputtering, chaotic things, they were spot on. And second, because those models are correct, Oumuamua's total refusal to play by those rules, its clean shape, its smooth push, wasn't just a little odd. It was fundamentally, irrefutably different. You can boil it all down to this. Borisov's movement was driven by messy chemistry, ice melting and shooting off into space. We could see it, we could measure it. Oumuamua's acceleration, on the other hand, was driven by pure physics, a clean, constant push from some force that had no visible cause. One is clearly nature. The other, well, it acts a lot more like technology. But you know, this story isn't just about weird rocks flying through space. It's actually a story about us.
Why did we feel such a deep, collective sense of relief when a boring, predictable comet showed up? The answer, it turns out, is deep in our own psychology.
Look, we are pattern-seeking animals. We absolutely crave having our expectations confirmed. Oumuamua completely broke the pattern, and that created this deep unease. So Borisov was like the universe handing us the right answer on a test. It gave everyone an escape route. It allowed the scientific community to say, see, comets are normal after all. Oumuamua was just a one-off weirdo. And then comfortably move on, without ever having to really face the more radical and settling possibilities.
And get this, that feeling of relief is literally hardwired into our brains. When we're confused by something like Oumuamua, our brains are buzzing with chaotic gamma waves. But finding a pattern, like Borisov, shifts us down into these orderly beta waves. That's the feeling of solving a problem, of cognitive closure. Our brain's reward system even gives us a little hit of dopamine for it, reinforcing the idea that finding the conventional answer is good. It's basically a neurological bias toward the comforting comet, toward the status quo.
So this whole cosmic tale ends up being this powerful metaphor for our own lives and for the decisions we make every single day. And it leaves us with a kind of challenge.
So think about a big challenge you're facing in your life right now. What's your Borisov comfort? You know, the easy, conventional explanation or solution. The one that doesn't rock the boat. Got it? Okay, now, what's your Oumuamua truth? What's the more radical, maybe even unsettling explanation that the evidence, if you're being totally honest with yourself, is actually pointing toward?
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. In your work, in your relationships, in your own life, are you making your decisions based on the messy, familiar, comforting comet? Or do you have the courage to look at the evidence for what it is and acknowledge the silent, strange, and potentially revolutionary artifact? The choice, as they say, is all yours.